What is the scariest story you know that is 100% true?
Nashibra train disaster https://n.wikipedia.org/wiki/nishibra_train_disaster is something that reminds me how death can come at any moment. A train with 51 wagons of sulfur, fertilizer, petrol and cotton wool somehow broke loose and rolled down the track about 20 kilometers until it derailed in the town of Qayyam, Iran. There were no humans on board. Chemical leaks ensued and authorities tried to extinguish whatever fires broke out. At one point, the whole thing explodes. And it really explodes. The whole town of Qayyam is literally demolished. 3 nearby towns are badly damaged and it was heard 70 kilometers away. The wreckage continued to explode for several days after. Around 300 people died and more than that injured. An earthquake of 3.6 on Richter scale was produced.
My mom was driving, and a guy ran out in the road, so she stopped so she couldn't hit him. It was nighttime, so it was pretty dark out, and 3 other men emerged from the forest around, all trying to use the door handles of her car to get in. She locked them luckily, and gassed it to the nearest town. Remember to always lock your car after you start it, because if it wasn't unlocked, who knows what would have happened to her.
The 1904 Cincinnati Privy disaster. https://beltmag.com/Cincinnati Privy Disaster 1904/. In 1904, 9 schoolgirls drowned in an outhouse after the floor collapsed. They literally drowned in human waste.
My friend's boss bought an Audi A4 convertible, back when they were new and interesting. One of the talking points was the pop-up roll hoops that were hidden unless you rolled it. A few months after buying it, he got to test those roll hoops out, as he lost control and skidded down a steep bank about 10 meters, 35 feet, deep. The roll hoops did their job, and he survived with just cuts and scratches from the bushes he'd plowed through. The car ended up the right way up and he got out, walked back up the bank to the side of the road, then got on the phone to the police to report the accident. While he was standing there, a driver from a car that had seen the accident came over to speak to him. Approaching from behind, the other driver asked if he was okay. My friend's boss turned around to reply and dropped dead. His neck had been fractured, but was in one piece right up until he turned his head, when it severed his spinal cord. Artemis Pyle, the drummer from Sky survived a plane crash and walked to a nearby house only to be shot by the homeowner. The homeowner saw a bloody long-haired man and winged him. Pyle survived that as well and made a full recovery.
One night my son, 20 at the time, was brought home fall down drunk by his buddy James. About a year later, James got another friend drunk, checked them into a hotel, killed, dismembered and ate some of him. https://lfpress.com/2016/04/05/ James McCulloch is on trial in death of Alex Fraser/WCM/3C437F082A24 benign 28A57 FCB773111C0.
I work at a max security prison and we have several inmates who are severely mentally ill. The ones that self-harm wear a Fitbit kind of thing to monitor heart rate. If there is a change, we rush their room to stop whatever is happening. On top of this, we also do visual inspections. On one round, a co-worker was doing cell checks and noticed this particular inmate had blood on their face, but nothing came up on the monitors or anything. So he called to the inmates to ask if they were okay. The inmate had their eyes closed and just kept repeating, "It doesn't hurt." The inmate would not answer where the blood was from. We opened the cell to see what the situation was, and it turns out the inmate had plucked out both of their eyes and they were laying on the floor. The inmate's HR monitor never alerted and the inmate never screamed. Paramedics said the inmate's vitals were normal and the inmate was fully responsive.
When my aunt was about 16, she was working at a grocery store and had a boss in his mid-20s. One day he called the house and was begging her to sneak out and hang out with him. She was considering it because it was her boss and she didn't want to say no. My mom, who was 2 years younger than her, always gets these incredibly spot-on gut feelings. She had one that night and begged my aunt not to go out with him. Thankfully she listened to my mom and told him no, which made him really angry. He ended up going out that night and meeting another girl. He took her out to some cliffs and raped her and pushed her off. Somehow she lived through this and was able to get him sent to prison. I feel so sorry for that girl and so thankful for my mom and her gut feelings. Always trust your gut.
Not as scary as some of the stories here, but I was pretty horrified when my dad told me the story. There are some really big houses in the woods in my hometown. One of the owners went out drinking with his buddies and realized he forgot the key to the gate when he got home. So he decided to just climb the gate. While climbing in his drunken state he slips and his leg gets pierced by one of the spikes on the gate. He was hanging there but too afraid to call for his wife. Since he was sure she would just open the automatic gate from inside the house, and since it was one of those gates that slides to the side, it would just trip his leg off if she did. He was hanging there the entire night until his wife woke up, saw him and called the fire department. My dad, who is one of the firefighters that showed up, said they had to saw off the spike to get him off. Just imagine hanging from your own gate all night not being able to call for help.
This is from South Africa. The woman is called Alison Botha and she was abducted, raped and then choked until she blacked out. She was driven into a secluded area, stabbed 30 times in the abdomen and 16 times in the throat and left for dead on the side of the road. She had to use her shirt to keep her organs inside her body and hold her head up because of a damaged muscle in her neck, and proceeded to crawl to the road where she was eventually spotted and rescued. She survived the attack and now does motivational speaking, I believe. https://nuxalifertizer.co.za/40889/ hijacked, rape, stabbed and still standing strong / and here is a link to the IMDb page for the documentary. https://m.imdb.com/title/tt3949952/
I spent my first 10 years in New Delhi. Back then, we would find dead women, burnt with acid or set on fire, and it used to be so normal. Like, oh look, another one of those dowry cases where her family didn't pay the husband enough money so they killed her. Many years later I revisited those memories and realized how insane that actually was. I'd totally forgotten about all that.
The driver, one of the semis we took in entree, died in the truck. The sleeping area is a bunk with a mattress that can be flipped up, and under it is a seat and a table. So during the day it's a dinette set up. And at night, you pull a lever and pull the bunk down to sleep. Well, something happened and the bunk flipped up while the driver was sleeping and it pinned him against the wall. He couldn't get it to drop back down and suffocated. He was stuck there for somewhere around 12 hours. Someone had noticed that he was parked for an unusually long amount of time for the kind of deliveries he did. The company that built the sleeper did something to the bunk so that couldn't happen again and supposedly recalled all of that sleeper style.
I worked for U-Haul when I was 18 and it was located in front of a club that was known for being really sketchy. I came in to open one morning and it was common for people to knock on the door hoping to get in early and get their truck. On this day, I hear frantic knocking on the door. I'm there alone still, so it kind of startled me. I look and there's a woman, completely naked, covered in what looks like blood. I called the cops and grabbed one of the moving blankets and went outside to cover her up. She smelled really bad and was a mess. Ended up being blood and her own shit she was covered in. Found out later she was drugged at the club that night, early morning, raped and left blacked out in the alley. It was just a fucked up and surreal situation to be involved in. I was in a crappy motel. The room had bedbugs. I was too exhausted to go to the front desk. I just needed to make it until the morning. I slept in the tub. Hours later I hear someone breaking through the window. I had a big knife with me and ran out into the room to find a man halfway through my window. We stared for a while at each other in shock. I think we both were scared. Then he says, "Is this your room?" I'm like, "Yes, this is my room, man." More staring. Then he slowly starts backing out while cursing me for leaving my window unlocked and not expecting him to break in. Motel on what of it, Sacramento.
https://www.cbc.ca/news/Canada/British Columbia/lack of oxygen killed 4 at BC mine report 1.582325 https://www.cbc.ca/news/Canada/British Columbia/lack of oxygen killed 4 at BC mine report 1.582325 Guy goes into a small building and dies. Later, investigator shows up and sees the body, calls 911 and then dies. Paramedics show up to help them, then die. The reason? Oxygen levels at head height were normal. Oxygen levels when bent over was basically zero. Bending over in this room killed 4 people by asphyxiation. Edit, they could breathe. The air they were breathing contained no oxygen. The human body can't tell the difference. Old janitor from high school, friendly Ecuadorian man who went by Peng. Worked at the school for 20 plus years and nobody had a problem with him. I guess his wife was leaving him and in the process of moving out. He caught her in bed with her new man. Next day, in the middle of town, he opened fire on her, the man, and then killed himself before any cops had time to respond.
My friend tripped and fell onto the tracks, landing his face onto the third rail. We kinda stood there in absolute shock because we thought he was dead, but then he said, "Can I move? Will I be electrocuted?" We told him to move instantly and he did. We got him off the tracks, and no less than 2 minutes later a train went zipping by. I think the third rail turned on seconds after his face came off of it. I know that's not scary to a lot of people, but to me it was because I would have lost a close friend back when I was about 12.
That there's a guy casing the bar that I work at literally right now, and I can't do anything to stop him. He's been in asking what time, days we're open, and what days we have security. Caught him feeling the corners of our windows and doors too. Unfortunately, until he breaks in and robs us, the police won't do a thing.
A guy I worked with was riding his dirt bike through the woods and somebody hung a cable between 2 trees. My buddy caught his throat on it and saw the dude steal his dirt bike. Woke up in the hospital with a lacerated throat and a broken larynx. Pretty crazy what somebody will do for something so cheap.
The case of Elizabeth Smart https://n.wikipedia.org/wiki/kidnapping_of_Elizabeth_Smart. She was kidnapped, repeatedly raped, psychologically tortured, and then brought around in plain sight in heavy religious garb. She had brushes with people who could have helped her, but her kidnapper claimed she wasn't allowed to speak in public or reveal her face for religious reasons. The reason she was rescued is because her sister was awake during her kidnapping and pretended to be asleep. She knew she recognized the voice, but it took her 9 months to remember it was a guy that used to do yard work for the family. The police didn't believe her because of the elapsed time, but pursued it to appease the family.
The story of Mary Vincent always stands out to me. In 1978, 15-year-old Mary was hitchhiking. A man named Lawrence Singleton picked her up. He brutally raped her, and eventually made her get out of the car. She planned to run, but he noticed, and cut both her arms off. He threw her into a ditch, ravine, and left her to die. She packed her stumps with mud to stop the bleeding and spent all night crawling out. She eventually makes it to the highway and starts walking, naked and covered in blood. The first car that saw her sped away in fear. The second car was a couple on their honeymoon. They picked her up and she survived. Edited to add, I was in a rush when I wrote this, so you should definitely read more into the story, it's crazy. From the horrific act itself, to the court proceedings, to the fact that he hardly served any time.
Nutty Putty Cave in Utah was sealed up in 2009 after John Jones was trapped upside down in a small crevice while spelunking. When rescue teams finally arrived, he had been upside down for so long that his legs were drained of blood. The only possible way to have gotten him out was to break his legs, which would have sent him into fatal shock. He died after being trapped for 28 hours. His body's still in the cave. There was a woman who worked in a science lab who spilled 2 drops of organic mercury on the back of her gloved hand. Those 2 drops destroyed her entire nervous system and brain. https://www.youtube.com/watch V=NJ7M01JV058.
Carol DeRonk was at a shopping mall in Salt Lake City in 1974 when she was approached by a man claiming to be a police officer. He said that someone had tried to break into her car and asked her to come with him. He then said he would drive her to the police station and she got into his car. However, this guy was not a police officer and he did not drive her to the police station but rather, pulled into a parking lot. He then cuffed her, pulled out a gun and threatened to kill her if she resisted. Only, he messed up. He meant to cuff both of her wrists but only managed to cuff one. She escaped and fought him off despite being hit over the head several times. Her kidnapper was Ted Bundy. He killed another woman just 4 hours later. Her escape also helped identify Bundy and she is part of the reason he was eventually arrested. I made the mistake of reading about the Ant Hill Kids cult at night. I don't recommend it. Here's the article I read, https://www.glutnation.com/anthillkidsbreak/lex/sledgehammer-go-hell/. Don't read it while you're eating. Starts of like a typical hippie, apocalypse-type cult. Ends with a lot of mutilation and murder. Edit. Link seems to be getting the Reddit hug. Just Google Ant Hill Kids. There have been a lot of write-ups about it.
Amateur rugby. Guy gets hit pretty hard and dislocates his hip. While waiting for the ambulance, a guy runs up saying he's a physio and can at least relocate the joint. He cracks the hip back into its socket and the guy screams. One of his testicles had been jolted out of place in the accident, and had been chilling out in the empty hip socket. Squish.
The Lake Nyos disaster https://and.wikipedia.org/wiki/lake_nyos_disaster. The lake periodically belches a cloud of invisible carbon dioxide gas that suffocates everything within a 16-mile radius. In 1986, over 1,700 people and all their livestock died without even understanding what was happening to them.
When I was in 4th grade, we had buddy classes with 1st graders to help teach them how to write and read properly. My buddy was Cameron Bell, a 6-year-old blonde boy who was a bit quiet but loved to draw angry birds. One morning, I came to school and my teacher was in tears, a police officer in the room beside her. As we sat down after the bell rang, we were told that due to an unfortunate series of events Cameron had passed away. After school, I rushed home to find out that due to the loss of his mother years prior, his father took him to the nearby church and shot him in the head before shooting himself. I still shake thinking about Cameron, and the innocence that was taken. I missed his messy handwriting and Angry Birds drawings. It's been 9 years since the tragedy, and his smile still haunts me. Link to the article. https://www.argonlive.com/argus/2011/03/hills_father_shoots_6year.html.
John List https://n.m.wikipedia.org/wiki/John_List, killed his whole family, wife, mother, daughter and 2 sons. He meticulously planned the whole thing, canceling all delivery services, excusing the kids from school, and even turned the air conditioning as low as possible to preserve the bodies for as long as possible. After he killed them all, he placed the bodies in sleeping bags and lined them up. He then wrote a letter to his pastor explaining why he had to kill them. He then leaves and isn't heard from again. 18 years later he's remarried and doing the same job as before, but this time he doesn't have any children. He's finally arrested after a tip was given to the FBI. Crazy thing is that because he planned it so well, the bodies weren't discovered until a month after the murders, so he had a huge head start and essentially started a new life in the same career and was heavily involved in a new church down in Virginia. Took 18 years to capture him.
The murders of Channon Christian and Christopher Newsom. The only time I was ever physically ill after watching a true crime show. Not for the faint of heart. https://n.wikipedia.org/wiki/murders_of_Channon_and_Christopher_Newsom.
This may just horrify me more than others. https://www.nightalinews.com/news/national/man found cooked deaths tuna factory article 1.11826007 https://www.nightalinews.com/news/national/man found cooked deaths tuna factory article 1.11826007. Dude was working on a tuna steamer and they closed him in and steamed him. I can't help but imagine that as anything but a truly terrifying and painful way to die. One of the main reasons I never could bring myself to do real factory labor is because I don't trust people enough to not tuna steam me. Edit. Thanks for the gold. R.I.P. Jose Medina.
3 sailors survived the sinking of the USS West Virginia at Pearl Harbor, only to die 16 days later, due to the lack of air. The Navy knew they were there, but couldn't get to them. 16 days to die. https://www.warhistoryonline.com/featured/Pearl Harbor 16 days to die.html.
In my town in the early 90s there was a notorious killer that had all of British Columbia, Canada on watch. My wife's mother, years and years before I knew them, had been home alone while her husband was in England doing tree surgeon work, arborist. She was in her laundry room when a man walked up from her basement, completely scaring her. She freaked out and said, "What the hell are you doing here?" He said he was friends with her husband and was just coming to see if he was here. Apparently he told him he could just walk in. Which she knew was bullshit. She was smart enough to tell him that he was just at the store and would be back any minute. He said he would wait outside for him. As soon as he left she called the police, but he was long gone by the time they got here. 2 weeks later, the killer was caught, his mugshot put on TV and it was the guy in her house. And #X200B, edit, the guy's name was Terry Driver. Here's a link to his wiki https://n.wikipedia.org/wiki/Terry_Driver.
Happened to me, have posted about it before. I was around 11 years old and I woke up in the middle of the night to a man straddled on top of me with his hand over my mouth and nose. He told me to roll over and not scream. I rolled onto the floor and tried to scream bloody murder. I say tried cause when you are truly terrified it can take a second to find your voice. My mom heard me screaming and came in and fought with the guy. He was at least 6, she was 5 feet 3 inches, and scared him enough with the fighting and screaming that he took off out the window he had come in through. Never did catch him.
The murder of James Bulger https://n.m.wiki.org/wiki/murder_of_James_Bulger. A 2-year-old boy kidnapped, tortured and murdered by 2 10-year-old boys in England in 1993.
On September 20, 1987 in Bellingham, Washington, a Georgia-Pacific paper mill worker was sent to inspect a heat exchanger system in the steam plant. Inside the base of the stack, he spotted a charred skeleton. To this day, no one is certain who the victim was, how they wound up in such a horrible place, nor why. Local paper, https://www.bullingemerald.com/news/local/article173627656.html https://www.bullingemerald.com/news/local/article173627656.html Good YouTube video on the subject. https://www.youtube.com/watch time \_continue equals 1 and v equals bhvgm2nu3u https://www.youtube.com/watch time _continue equals 1 and v equals bhvgm2nu3u.
My brother's ex-GF had two older sisters. They died before she was born. One day they decided to play hide and seek or something. So anyway, they both climbed inside a chest and accidentally locked themselves in. They suffocated.
Was working the evening shift at a gas station. Man comes in all disoriented. I go to help him out. He has a gash on his head and doesn't know where he was. I couldn't see any crashes around, so assumed he had fallen or something. Normally we are supposed to stay inside the glass-shielded register area whenever anyone is in the store. I, being a nice human being, went to help while calling the police, EMS. They got there and checked him out. They thought his head may have been fractured. Took him to the ER. I went back to work. Cops stopped back by for some coffee a few hours later. They told me the guy got hit by a baseball bat trying to break into a little girl's bedroom and was wanted for rape and murder in 2 other states. I never left the register area at night again.
In 3rd grade, a guy came to our school and held our class hostage. He had already killed his wife and was there to kill his kid. The administrators convinced him the kid was not there and to take one of their cars and leave. After threatening to kill us multiple times, tying up the gym teacher, and dragging someone's grandma around with a knife at her neck, he finally left about 30 minutes later. The police caught him in Indiana on his way to kill his parents. He was convinced the world was ending and he was killing everyone he loved to spare them. The school did worse than nothing. They lied to parents and no assistance was given to either the kids or teachers involved. The gym teacher never came back, and every time she would see one of the kids at the store or whatever, she had a breakdown. Several of us have PTSD, undiagnosed, for decades. We just thought it was normal. In the 70s the Chicago public school system was more concerned about their jobs and lawsuits, so they covered it up.
A pub in Colnbrook, Berkshire in UK has a pretty terrifying history. Greater Than the Ostrich has seen its fair share of murders, and they say that over 60 were committed here. Most famous of all were those committed in the 17th century by the landlord of the time, German, who with his wife made a very profitable sideline by murdering their guests after they had retired for the night. Greater than they had a trapdoor built into the floor of one of their bedrooms, and when a suitably rich candidate arrived, German would inform his wife that a fat pig was available if she wanted one. She would reply by asking her husband to put him in the sty for till the morrow. The bedstead was hinged and they would tip the sleeping victim into a vat of boiling liquid immediately below, thus killing him. https://www.theostrichcolnbrook.co.uk/history https://www.theostrichcolnbrook.co.uk/history http://www.bbc.co.uk/articles/2009/05/ostrich_feature.shtml http://berkshire/contents/articles/2009/05/ostrich_feature.shtml.
Well, I'm a bit late, and I'm not sure if anyone posted this already, but the story of Hisashi Aoki, He suffered radiation exposure so thorough his DNA was destroyed and he probably would have died in a matter of days or even hours, but doctors kept him alive for almost 3 months. He was conscious and begging for death as his body literally fell apart. https://www.youtube.com/watch V equals 2yi5jni https://www.youtube.com/watch V equals 2yi5jni. Here's a video about it, but be warned, it is very disturbing and graphic.
2 off-duty U.S. soldiers were on a train in France. When walking past a toilet they recognized the loading noises of rifles coming from inside. They waited outside and jumped the guy when he came out. He was a terrorist who was about to go through the train killing people. https://www.wallstreetjournal.com/articles/2 U.S. soldiers help subdue attacker on French train 1,440,238,328.
H. Holmes and the hotel he built specifically to murder people. Like something from a horror movie, but completely true. https://n.wikipedia.org/wiki/h%2e_h%2e_Holmes? Prov equals 51.
My long-term partner decided to end his life suddenly and unexpectedly a few years ago. He was the happiest person I knew, and even with 20/20 hindsight, videos, pouring through old messages etc., I wouldn't be able to identify any warning signs.
An acquaintance of mine sent his son to triathlon camp in Texas. A week later, his son came back from camp. The next day, the son was complaining of a headache. 4 days later, he was dead. Healthy, happy, fit 12-year-old 1 week, dead the next. Turns out the lake had Naegleria fowleri. https://n.wikipedia.org/wiki/Naegleria_fowleri, the brain-eating amoeba. Nothing scares me as irrationally as already being dead and waiting for your body to catch on. Link http://www.cnn.com/2007/health/10/04/amoeba.lake/index.html, for those interested.